Hi everyone! To give you some context, I should mention that I'm 42 years old, that I'm essentially a rational person, that I sometimes have a few quirks, nothing too serious, and that I always apply the principle of Occam's razor. What I'm about to tell you is the one and only experience of this kind I've ever had, and it still haunts me to this day. Here's the story. When I was a teenager, I was alone at my computer in my bedroom on a completely ordinary day. On the other side of my room was a sturdy, solid wooden cabinet on which I'd stacked a pile of CDs. I don't remember the exact number, but off the top of my head, I'd say about 30 or 40 CDs in their cases. As I was saying, I sometimes have little quirks, and one of them back then was constantly rearranging the stack so it was perfectly straight. I couldn't stand it if it wasn't. So that day, I got up to go to the kitchen on the other side of my single-story house. At one point, I heard a strange noise, as if something plastic had been dropped. So I went back to my bedroom, and there I saw my stack of CDs warped in the center, with the top 3 CDs that had fallen next to it. Like anyone else, I first thought it was a draft, but no windows or doors were open. I can swear to that. And to add to the mystery, this seemingly trivial event sent an inexplicable chill down my spine, and I could have sworn I felt a presence. Anyway, that's where the first incident ends. About 2 or 3 years later, I was making the top bunk of a bunk bed, which is right next to the cabinet, and that's when it happened. My elbow violently knocked into the stack of CDs, which hadn't moved at all since the first incident, and that's when I froze. The middle was dented, and exactly the top 3 cases had fallen out, just like that. First time, I stood frozen for what felt like an eternity. I know that from the outside, it all looks like a ridiculous coincidence, but my gut is screaming the opposite. Anyway, I don't know what to make of it, but these two events have never left my mind, even 30 years later. Thank you for taking the time to read my story.